Well, hi there, and thanks for joining me in my shop here, where we're going to take a look at this record player. And as usual, what you see is what you get with me. I haven't looked at this at all. It's been delivered to me using a box, very, very appropriately sized box to carry it, and I don't know the first thing about it. Usually I know the first thing about it, but this one I don't. So the owner has asked for it to be fixed up. Okay, so that's good. Let's fix it up. I don't even see a name on here. Who made this? I don't see a name. That's great. I haven't ever worked on one that looked quite like this. The rubber appears to be glued right down, so that's not coming off. It looks like the center clip is missing. So we might be able to, lift this right up. Let's do that before I even plug it in. Let's see. Oh, this is a little tricky. There we go. Let's take a look at what we got here. Okay, so this is the mechanism for triggering the record player to recognize it's a 33. The record pushes that little button down, pushes that little band up. The little band drags across these contacts and triggers the... Come on, is that how it works? I don't even believe what I'm saying there. Triggers the... Huh? No, that can't be. Okay, well, I have no idea how that works. This is right and left. I mean, this is the sound connections. That band is... Oh, it's traveling over here. Okay, here's the sensor here. So when the set is operating, this little piece will pop up. It'll be pushed back down by this band. And that'll tell it that it's a large record. Okay, and this just sits here doing nothing. You know, put it in front of me, I'll try to explain it, even if I'm way off. So, okay, here's the idler. The idler looks extremely polished here. Feels very, very polished. Oh, it's hard as a stone. The whole thing is hard. Actually, you know, it feels like more like plastic than rubber. Wow, I don't know if this is going to work. There's not much rubberiness left in that. There's the motor. Motor turns freely, and we saw the platter turning freely. So lubrication issues may be minimal on this. Now, how do we power it? How do we get some power to it here? What? No gold bars in the box. Once again, I've missed my chance. So, let's see. This is manufactured in Canada by Nationwide Manufacturing. Norseman Street. By agreement with the VM Corporation, Benton Harbor, Michigan. Model VM, then it's got stamped on it Philco number 15042 something or other. A whole pile of numbers. That's kind of interesting. So we got Nationwide manufacturing it, I think, to go into a Philco machine. And behind it all is this VM Corporation. So, just in looking at it, the lubrication looks pretty dried up on this. Doesn't look very good, so we'll re-lubricate. Everything's turning quite freely, so it feels very good. Yeah. Now, how do we power it? Where does it get? Oh, here's its power plug here. Something special here. Okay, but I can see where the power goes. It goes right in there. The other two is a four contact. It's quite commonly a 4 contact connector here. two of them are carrying the power, the last two are doing nothing. I am fairly sure. No, that may not be true. There's a switch mechanism in here, so that power may be provided to a different pin and then run through the record player switch to get to the motor. It's hard to see, hard to tell what's going on in there. But anyway, if I apply power to these two pins, that motor will come on. Any reason to think it's not 120 volts? I don't think so. And that motor looks pretty new. The mountings are good. One of them's slamming a bit, but it's definitely got some rubberiness in there. Why is that one slamming? It's not the bearing. It's I'm moving the motor farther than it would ever go, and it's bumping into the frame. So that's the thing. So I think we need to operate this guy and see what's going on with this. That's the that's where we're at with it now. So once again, when I operate things in my shop, especially for the first time, I have current limiting on it to protect the device and protect everything, basically. Hey, this box is really handy. I like this idea. It's kind of better than anything I've ever done. Why has this got goo all over it? Where have you been? Were you out playing with your friends? You got goo on you? Come on. Yeah, it's going to stay kind of sticky, gooey. I don't know what that is. Can we get it on here safely? And the answer would be no, we cannot do that. Let me try some other chords here. Is there any chance? No, there's no chance. And where's my record player? Cheater chord. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Okay, so this works, I think, with dual record players. And look at that! Ha! Fits right in there. And sure enough, it's energizing the third pin. It's energizing the third pin, which runs through the switch. I believe. I believe. Where's the switch on here? Where is there a switch? Well, the switch is right in here. That is the switch. This plug is actually the switch housing too, and I can see the lever down there. So, okay. This is good. I like the way this went in. Nice and safe and secure. A little better than using the clip lead cord, which always makes me nervous. Now, mind you, I do have current protection normally on, so even if I generate a short circuit, the worst that happens is a light bulb comes on over here in my shop. It's not like I'm going to set a fire off or something very bad like that. So if I tugged on this wire, I think I probably did. So we will plug it in. Power is off right now. Okay, this is free to go. You better put the platter back on. But really, I'll bet you the drive is horrible on this thing. That's my guess. That would be my guess. Come on, little guy. Well, it can't work like that. Sometimes you have to pull the mechanism up here. a little bit tricky to do. Tricky for me to do, that's for sure. Come on, little guy. This part has to come up. Oh, there it is, stuck up. If I just don't touch it, I should be able to get this on. That provides just a little better angular clearance. Ah, it fell down just at the last minute, but I think I can get it. There we go. See that? You just have to lift this little piece up, and that allows you to get her on. So. Okay, so off on reject, which I still don't understand why they use the word reject for a dropping a record. We're set for limited power. Here we go. Hey, I like that. Whoops. It's turning, sort of. I think I know exactly where the look. It's got no. There's no traction here. Oh, that was pretty tough. Tough point in the mechanism. Here she comes. Grab it. And listen to it. Oh, it sounds like a railroad. It sounds like a train going down the tracks here. Just gave up the ghost. Oh, that's because the mechanism engaged to return the arm. Oh man, it's just clunk, clunk, clunk. Yeah, she's bad news. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the idler wheel we hear. It sounds like a train going over the brakes in the train tracks. You know, get the pace of it? You can just imagine that idler wheel going around about that pace. Yeah. So there's got to be a divot in the idler wheel. Okay, no use playing this any longer. It needs some intervention for sure. Let's take the idler wheel off. Okay, it's got a tiny, tiny little clip there. Just the kind that's so easy to lose, and I'm sure I don't have another one this size in my shop. There it is. Came right off, easy as can be. A little washer there, so there they are. Don't lose them. Take this off. How can I demonstrate how hard it is? Here. Come down for a close look with me. There, I'm just gonna put the focus on manual here. Now, when you're looking at the edge of this, you're looking for dents and divots. It's pretty rough, isn't it? It's hard too, so being hard, it's going to transmit a lot of noise and vibration. So just look right in this area here, where the light is flashing off of it. And I think there's at least one divot. There's one there. It's not much of one. There's a little one there. Funny, they're only halfway. There's the big guy. It's halfway again. That's a mean one, boy. That'll make a real big thunk. There's all kinds of them on here. So that's what we were hearing. When we were running this thing, it sounded like a train going down the tracks. This is the train right here. It's loaded with them. And the outside of this is as hard as can be. Whoops, let me, okay. Push it in, let go. Well, there's a little bit of rubberiness to it. Let's try it again. I want to do it right in this shiny area here, right here. Oh, it's hard enough that it's slippery on the screwdriver. Push it in, and let go. I didn't even see anything that time. I'm afraid I wasn't looking at the screen when I let go. Anyway, we'll have to grind this guy down a bit. It's our only hope. Or he's got to be replaced. There's actually, if you look on the surface here, there's actually cracks right in it. Look at that, eh? See what I'm talking about? Right here. What is that? Is that, maybe that's just a cut mark on the surface, or it's a crack developing right through it. There's a piece chipped right out of it. So that gives you an idea of how hard this thing has become. You know, it could be the case that they made this out of a very soft rubber, very appropriate. I'm sure they made it out of something appropriate initially. But what made it appropriate initially, the softness, also made it unstable, an unstable rubber type product. And just given time, the various components of the rubber have literally evaporated out of the rubber. And the rubber has changed to this. Believe it or not, the term is plasticizers. The plasticizers have come out, and now it's like plastic, which kind of sounds a little weird, doesn't it, the way I put it? But let's get on with grinding it. I think I can do two things at once, can I? Can I talk and grind at the same time? Okay, so I'm going to put you back up here in the sky box. Put you back on autofocus here. Okay. So I like to use my drill. It's a pretty small shaft, so I need a fairly small nut and screw. See, I think this is going to be too big. That's the kind I would usually use. I need something pretty slender. I think even this would be too big. Yeah. Yikes. I have to find my special stash of particularly small screws. Okay, so I'm going to hunt around for a screw here. I'll just pause the video while I'm doing that. Okay, I found a screw, but I don't have a nut for it, and I have to dig to find a nut. But I realized, hey, this has a shaft sticking out. I can clamp right on that shaft with my drill. Don't even need the screw method here. As is so often the case, there are alternatives, but you need to be open-minded to spot them. There we go. Perfect. Now let's grind that on some fairly coarse. I really want to grind a lot up. Maybe I'll use a file. Hey, who took my files? Yikes. Here's one. This'll do. Okay, now I'd like to show you how I do this. You've seen me do this before if you've been watching my videos, but always fun to see how this is done. Pretty simple stuff, really. Okay, we'll bring you down from your high perch. Put you on a lower perch here. So this is just an ordinary file here, nothing special about it. Take my drill, and I'm just gonna, as you can imagine, I'm just gonna do this. You can see the material coming off. Now that's already a much better surface there. It's still hard as can be. You know what? This whole thing has gone hard. Usually what you're doing is you're taking off a hard surface where, let's say, oxygen in the air has, well, you could call it corrosion, has attacked the surface of the, the exposed surface of the rubber and converted it into a new material, something without the kind of traits that you're looking for. It usually just loses its softness. Oh my gosh, this is just glassy hard. So I don't think this is going to come back. I need to replace this idler wheel. It still sounds like a train, doesn't it? So I'm checking for those divots. I really don't see them. Oh, yeah, there's a little remnants of one there. That's probably the deep one. So let's go a little further. It might be slightly rubbery, but okay, sounds like I better put this battery on charge. I like to keep all my batteries charged up in case we get a power outage. Not that it's very likely here, but I did have a 5-day outage there at Christmas. Makes you think a little more. Okay, so I'll get rid of this dirt here. I sort of got rid of it. There we go. Well, let's give that a try anyway, and we'll see if that made any difference. But I really don't think it's a solution to the problem with this record player. The problem being poor traction. So what did I do with the wheel? I left it on the drill. Okay. Let's throw a little lubrication on that. Oop. There we go. And the clip and the washer. There's nothing more we can do for this wheel, so I might as well put it right back on. Pretty sure it's going to need replacement. The platter may turn now without sounding so much like a truck, or a train rather. we go. Put the plier on. Now, do you remember the little trick of doing this? Slide that up. Easier said than done. There we go. Hold on, it's caught on this. There we have it. Ready on, ready on, ready on. Here we go. That is quieter, isn't it? But, oh yeah, it's working the mechanism now. You see it skidding? You can hear it skidding under here. So, you know, this guy is just never going to work, I don't think. Well, the mechanism's working fairly well. It turned itself off. It turned itself off because this arm is low enough to indicate there's no records to drop. If it was up a little higher, it wouldn't have turned itself off. Now, what more can we do with this? The only other possible way of improving traction here is to strengthen the spring rather. And this does not feel right. This really does not feel right. It should be a spring pulling it, and yeah, it does not feel right. Let's take a look. Bearing in mind it's plugged in, let's cut the power to it. Okay, so now I get some surprises here. Christmas time surprises are good. Sometimes other surprises not so good. So this is it. Where's the spring mechanism? There. Oh, it's got a curly. Oh man, look at that. How's this gonna work? Well, the spring has almost no springiness to it. I mean, this is supposed to be it. Oh gosh, you have to yank like crazy on that. Ooh. Let me look at that again. Yeah, that's... So I'm moving the mechanism where it's supposed to go, and then I'm looking at which spring is getting shorter, and there's only one spring. It is getting shorter, which means that's its pull direction. This is it. That's just nothing there. So this mechanism is... kind of interfered with by that. So that's not very much. It does feel like it's binding a little bit. Yeah, let's take a good close look at that. So we're looking at the various surfaces here, and you know, what am I seeing? I'm seeing what looks like a plastic shaft, and this metal piece I'm moving up and down here. Clearly it's grinding the material. In fact, the material is under some kind of a... See on my finger there? A little bit of powder. The material itself is either growing something on the surface, which is kind of creepy, or the surface again is failing from bad materials. Now, you know, this particular manufacturer, you know, I say bad materials. Yeah, here we are in 2014 complaining about this record player, which was supposed to be in the garbage 35 years ago. So it shouldn't be so hard on the makers. Now that spring is simply what's pushing this down. Wow, that's why when I changed the speed, it was so slow and sluggish, because it's sliding up and down on this horrible shaft here of... Yeah. So what do you do about that? Get at the shaft and clean it all up. And you know, that can even be restricting the effect of the spring here. Sorry, it's out of focus, but because the spring, this thing's rotating around the shaft, and the shaft is all messed up. It's looser now. It's already looser. Or I could just throw some oil on it and go, hey, there you go. Or just work it up and down and get all the loose stuff off. Yeah, look at it. That's an ugly affair. Speed setting is not at a limit. I should have the speed setting at a limit. So this thing is at the end of its travel. And so I can work at its whole travel. It sure looks like it's at a limit. It's on 33 though. Yeah, there we go. Flip it from here. Sorry, I'm not watching my camera work too closely here, so. What's holding it from there? It was here easy, but it has more travel, but it doesn't want to take it. It can travel that far, but it won't take it. Because of this rod is holding it here. Okay, on that, much more I can do there. Let's do the lubrication of everything else here. Just give me a moment. There you go. And so we'll lubricate everything else. I'm not sure there's anything more we can do about this situation here. And give it a little bit of solvent here. This is to loosen up the old grease. The mechanism's moving really nicely. To get up the excess oil. Yeah, that's a wonderful. That's good. Not much more we can do with that. No use putting any more lubrication on it. Should I do the lower bearing on here? I think I'll stay away from it. This is nut up. This is screw up. The concern with taking these off is that it's like this. It's a screw with a nut. So you need to work from both sides. And you can't get at this side without removing the entire motor. And, you know, since it's not showing any sign of bearing problems, why would I do that? And run the risk of doing more damage. The bottom line is there's always a risk of injury when you do anything to these things. Not a lot of risk with the motor thing, but there is some. You notice these rubber motor mounts are in really good shape. Should we run it again just for fun? Why not? See, another possibility is that it's essentially lubricated the inside here with, yeah, there is a little bit of stuff there, with debris that's come off the idler wheel. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to move over here a little bit. So I'm just trying to make sure that the surface is not buffed. Not buffed. Once again, there we go. I'm getting better at it every time. Hey, how come you're not falling in? Uh-oh. Not falling in because I left the mechanism in a... This is a little tricky. Let's see if you can see in there. If you look in there and you see those teeth, the mechanism has to be where the window is. Let me turn it here. There's the window. There's no teeth. And then you can drop this guy in and it'll engage. And see on here, that little trigger bump, I don't know what to call it. It's probably a proper term. That you also want to pay attention to when you put these back together, because in some record players that piece will bang into the teeth of the gear below, and if you force it on, you will end up with a bad situation. Now, how come this isn't setting? After saying all that, what's going on? You know what, while I have this off, I should really be looking at the lubrication down here too, which, there it is. It's crystalline. It's gone crystalline. So that's not helping either. Although it's crystalline, it's not gold bars, so still, my retirement plan has not been fulfilled once again. Now, how am I supposed to get down in there? Let's see if we can get the bearing right out of there. I bet you nobody else has. Pretty hard to grab a greasy thing, especially with pliers with no teeth. Kind of dumb to even try. This might cut it. This might get it out. Okay, here comes the washer. And we'll try to pull out the actual bearing here. Now these bearings are not about lubrication. This is not what they're fighting. What they're fighting is noise and rumble. So that's what these guys are all about. They're all about how to provide a bearing for the platter. Platters are often pretty heavy, and a silent bearing, and so this is what they usually do. Now, let's see the condition of the grease in there. Hey, what happened? What happened? I don't even know how that happened. Okay, sorry about that. Oh my gosh, the grease. Oh yeah, the grease is dried up here. I see crystals. I can see the light reflecting off of crystals of grease. Yeah, look at that. It's turned into wax. Okay, so we gotta get that out of there. That's for sure. Come on down for a closer look. Let me get a little better angle on this here for you. The trick is to get all that old goo out of there. The other trick is to get my camera to focus. Okay, I'm going back on manual. So where's the focus? Focus is way up in front of it here. Isn't that horrible stuff? Oh, look at that. It's more like glue than anything. You see it's all crystalline and kind of pretty egregious looking stuff. Now I'm wondering about the motor bearing. Probably safe to say this has never been changed or worked on in its life. And you know, I don't have to get this perfectly out of there. The stuff that's left in there will probably, when I put the new grease in, will probably come to life, absorb some of the liquid components of the other grease. So I don't have to get this perfectly clean. But we got to make room for the new stuff. Yucca. Now here's an interesting thing. You know, on the YouTube system they have a when you load up a video, if the video is shaky, they will offer to stabilize it. And the interesting thing is, if all that's in the field of view of the camera, like this, all my fingers are in the field of view and they're all shaking around. That's kind of weird looking, isn't it? The shakiness program will see that as shaky camera movements. Will actually stop some of the movement. Now what I just showed you with my fingers isn't quite right. I'll show you what I really mean. As I get something and move it like this, back and forth, the YouTube system will attempt to remove the movement back and forth, even though actually the camera's not shaking one bit. It's kind of interesting how this works, and there's quite a few advantages to it. So a lot of my videos I put through that processor. So you know, if you're watching lots of YouTube videos, you know what's going on. You know, you can see the effect of it. Let's get some new grease. So the grease I'm using is nothing particularly special. It's axle grease. I bought this for my car. And unfortunately, it's been around for a while, so it's gotten a little contaminated now. And you know what I found in doing this? I could have put on my rubber gloves to do this, but this is a messy job no matter what you do. Old grease is pretty ugly stuff to get on your fingers. New grease, not so much. Well, that's pretty full looking to me. Now, can't touch anything because my fingers are all gooped up. And the camera's right in the way here, so I'm going to move you back with my somehow here. Let's see what happens if I do that. Move you back further. Oh heavens, there we go. Okay, never mind. You're just going to have to stare at that for a moment. Drop this guy down the shaft. Down you go. There. Now if I just take a moment, kind of degrease my fingers here. That's a pretty good way to mess everything up. Greasy fingerprints on everything. My mother would not be impressed. Yeah, I grew up in a house that was spick and span all the time. 24/7. Perfectly clean all the time. And, thank you, Mom, for that. Bit of a problem, though, being a boy in an environment like that, when you just want to run around and do stuff. But, oh, there's some, wait a minute, stop staring at the bolt and come back up here. Oh, look at that, I got grease. That's interesting. It's so obvious when you look in the camera. I got grease all over that. But when you look at it with your eye, you can hardly see it. Maybe it's something about my eye. I should look at it with both my eyes. Okay, so I'm just picking the dried grease off this as best I can. Yuck. Okay. Nope. Hole in one. Hole in one. Went right down the hole there. Whew, that was close. Okay, I think we can drop this on. Yeah, if you haven't had a good close look at a record dropping mechanism, here it is. Let's take a look at it. So you see two moving parts, this one and this one. Whoops, not supposed to stick. Probably got some grease on it or something. See, some parts, you know, you don't want to lubricate them because the lubricant you know, has a surface tension and a grip. This is just supposed to drop out. Never supposed to stick. Yeah, I'm not sure what to do about that. So when you bring the record down over it, this piece here, keeps the record from sliding over this way and then falling down the shaft. So it holds it in position here. And then this piece, okay, when it closes like that, it actually moves the record over so it lines up with the main shaft, and then boom, it shoots down. Meanwhile, the other record, because you can have a stack of 2 or 3 or even 5 records on here, cannot be dragged over and dropped because of this little blocker. That little blocker. So, and why does the blocker go up like that? I'm going to suggest the only reason is so you can get the platter on and off. That it can move out of the way briefly. That you can get the platter on and off. Maybe I got that wrong. Maybe there's another reason for it, but if this was fixed, you put the platter on, you can never get it off again. You can't negotiate the curves in there, the geometry in there. Okay, so we lubricated the. I'm going to put you back up on the high perch. Back up on the high perch. We'll put the platter back on. Now another area to clean is right inside the shaft there. I'm not so sure how this is going to go. That's not going to work. Too much grease on that. I thought I was keeping my Q-tips really handy, but since I put them in the handy location, I can never remember where I put them. Missing in action. Keep my eyes peeled for them. Completely lost them. Here's one anyway. Just have to find one laying around. So what we're going to do is first we're just going to take a clean one, shove it down there, see what we get. Not much. Looks like it's completely dry in there. Likewise, the outside of this shaft, nothing particularly dirty about it. So let's put a little bit of grease in there. Here we go, making a greasy mess again. It keeps it from dropping all the way down. Is it the idler wheel? Typically the idler wheel interferes with the platter just before you get it down, but this one, yeah, maybe that's what it is. Well, this is not good. It just does not. What's going on here? Oh my gosh, it's locked in. What has happened? Okay, so it locked in when this upper edge caught this small piece here. It's going in on an angle. What is going wrong when I put this in? I kind of don't get it. Maybe it is just the idler wheel here. That's all it was. The idler wheel's just getting in the way. Okay, not too impressive there. Let's give it some power. Come on, Scotty, more power! Oh, okay. Reason it's not got any power is it's not got any power. Let's give it some power. Oh, look at that baby go. Dum, dum, dum. Yeah, that's the idler wheel. It's just got no grip. That's about the most we can do to this guy. Let's put a record on and see if we can't get some sound out now. I have to set up my my old stereo in here. To do that, it's a great big honking beast. and because I have no way of playing the low signals that come out of these cartridges in my shop here. I did for a while, but I don't right now, so I gotta do something. I gotta think about that one. You know what? Maybe it can go right down under there, underneath my either underneath or on top of my computer. Okay, anyway, so we can't really play a record at the moment. So that's as much as we can do. Hey, you know, we can put a record on and see if the 33 detector works. Let's try that. Put a record on. Reject. Drop the record. I have to give it some help here. Bingo. Ooh, we got there. There's another detector here for record size. So I guess you got your 10-inch detector and your 12-inch detector, and neither one detects anything. It must be an 8-inch. Man, when I look at that cartridge, boy, it looks very poorly aligned. Let's bring it to the end here. Didn't quite finish the record, did it? You know what I would say? Wow. I was going to say this whole arm looks like it's been twisted, but no, I don't think so. Okay, so that's all I can do right now. Looks like the detectors are working properly, and I'll have to set up the stereo. I got to do that soon because I'm having trouble testing these kinds of things. And the stereo is just sitting on the floor in my office, so it's gotta go, man. Gotta go. That's all for now. Thanks a lot for watching, and you might see this record player once more when I get my stereo set up. So, thanks a lot, and see you on the next video.